Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky back with my plans and pans. Well, I had the wonderful opportunity to participate in an incredible conference that is sponsored by Moms Demand Action. This is the organization that is fighting for gun safety legislation and have been doing it for a very long time. There were over 2,000 people at McCormick Place for this, and the chief speaker was Kamala Harris, and she was spectacular. At this opening session, she was part of a panel discussion, and she was being asked incredible questions about what kind of work that we still need to do, but also the optimism that if we all work together, we are making progress. It was a terrific day for a conference, especially in Illinois, because the Illinois Supreme Court upheld what the state legislature had done, which was to say that there would be a ban on assault weapons. We know from the polling that 61% of Americans would like to see a national ban on assault weapons. Well, we have been leading the way here in Illinois, so it was really a great day for our conference. But she was just fabulous in talking about how young people, especially, are so important in this fight. Of course, all of us of every age ought to be fighting to make sure that weapons of mass destruction can't be sold. Besides banning assault weapons, there is so much more that we could do. We know that the vast majority of Americans, 80% plus, want to see universal background checks. We know that we want to have safe storage of weapons that are held in the house. And we also know, and the Vice President pointed out, that we have, under the Biden administration, the Biden-Harris administration, actually have made some progress in passing a package of bills that for the first time in 30 years now has limited the absolute right to own a gun and to use it in any way they want. So we have a lot of work to do, but it was a very upbeat conference, even among the people who were there, and she thanked them. Kamala thanked them. People who have suffered from loved ones being shot and killed, who were there to stand up and say, we have to keep going. This week, I also was able to give what has become kind of an annual event, speaking to the Evanston League of Women Voters. Evanston is the town that I live in, and it's typical of these groups that are everywhere around the country. The League of Women Voters was founded in February of 1920. In August, that is when women's suffrage became the law, where women were finally allowed the vote. And the League of Women Voters has been fighting for democracy, fighting for the right to vote ever since. So we had a terrific meeting, lots of questions and answers about what is going on. How is our democracy surviving right now? There seem to be so many attacks. And yet the League of Women Voters is absolutely in for the fight to make sure that our democracy is there. The Freedom to Vote Act, which among other things would set a national standard all across the country, every state and every election jurisdiction, to make sure that everyone is eligible to vote. It would protect voters against intimidation and harassment, and it would protect election workers and volunteers who want to participate in making sure that elections are safe and secure and available for all. So we had a lively conversation about what's going on right now and how we're going to work together to protect our democracy going forward. As most of you know, one of my top priorities is to make sure that we are protecting consumers from dangerous products. But I have come to the conclusion that right now we do not have at hand the rules and regulations that adequately protect consumers and particularly our children. I introduced legislation called the Safe Sleep for Babies Act, and it finally went into effect in November of 2022. The products that have been declared as safe for babies, especially these inclined sleepers, actually have resulted since 2015, just one particular company, Boppy Newborn Lounger, that 25 children have died, and 5 of them after there was a recall. My legislation actually took a number of them off the market last year, and yet we are seeing children dying. Now, why is that? There's actually one company who says that they refuse to follow a recall. So they're being sued right now by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. And I want to give a boost to the CPSC, a small but mighty agency. But when I say small, this is an agency that is underfunded, that is understaffed, and has some really strange rules. For example, the Consumer Product Safety Commission is not permitted to send out an alert to consumers nationally or anywhere without getting the permission of the manufacturer of that product. They have to negotiate with a manufacturer before they are allowed to send out any alert. And that is because there is Section 6B of the Consumer Product Safety Act that has passed a number of years ago, lots of years ago, that has set that rule. Can you imagine that they have to go to the companies? And so we have a system here that gives a preference to the manufacturer of these products. I've introduced legislation called the Sunshine in Product Safety Act, which says that section of the Consumer Product Safety Act should be removed, that it should just be eliminated. And if the Consumer Product Safety Commission finds that there is a dangerous item on the market, we know that children have been hurt or even injured, we should be able to get that information out right away. We have to create a better mechanism for recalls of these, mandatory recalls. And that's the other thing I have a gripe about. You know how much companies spend on marketing a product that they want to sell. What happens if it's recalled? Do they spend anything like that money to make sure that that product gets off the market? And then even when a product is recalled, we find that there are still many of them left in homes, in toy boxes, and we know that even online, you can often buy these in a marketplace. Even though it may not be a brand new product, that they should not be selling anything that has been recalled. And Facebook, has to take some responsibility. So we have a lot of work to do to make the environment for our children much safer. We know that one of the things that we have to do to beef up the Consumer Product Safety Commission is to provide more funding. And I am very disappointed that the Republicans voted in the Appropriations Committee just in the last few weeks to cut money from the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Now, whose side are they on? It sounds like they are bending to pressure from corporations that want to be able to sell these products, even though we know that, especially with these kinds of sleepers, that we have seen the death of children. So if you can tell that I'm feeling pretty angry right now, It's true, I am. But I'm going to continue to fight and try to enlist more and more people, ordinary consumers, parents, to say that we absolutely can do better to protect our children. We have a wonderful leader of the CPSC right now. I've worked with him before, and I know that if we had the funding, if we had the staff, and we had the will, we could make sure that the marketplace was safe for our children now and going forward. So I'll let you know if you can help us out, and I'd love to hear your comments if you've had any kinds of experiences with products, particularly for children, that you have found to be unsafe. Thanks so much. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.